our OPDs are so limited in the number of procedures that we do in periodontology.
The point is, a lot of people still don't know what happens in perio. Perio is still scaling polishing for everyone. So perio is a field that is so huge that it takes 4 years for us to graduate. Like it does take 4 years to graduate. So there is definitely something more than scaling polishing that's going on. See, living in Pakistan, you have two options. You either go for FCPS or you go for MDS. Now, how do you choose between the two? It all depends on a lot of things.
Honestly, I didn't even know there was a subject other than perio that you were ever associated with. This is coming quite as a surprise that you were a
I
teacher of
love
prosto.
prosto. I love prosto.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Dr. Mariam Yusuf, and today on Dental News Podcast, we have Dr. Aisha Hanif with us. Dr. Aisha Hanif is a remarkable personality in the field of periodontology. She's currently serving as the assistant professor in the Department of Periodontology at Dow University of Health Sciences and has been associated with the field of education for over 10 years. Dr. Aisha, we're more than happy to have you today. Thank you so much for taking out the time for this.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and privilege. And the way you introduced me was so humbling. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited for this conversation.
So am I. So, Dr. Aisha, this was just a brief introduction that I gave about you. I would really like for you to introduce yourself as well.
Acha, okay. So I'm Dr. Aisha. I did my BDS from Dow. I'm the graduate of the first batch of Ishatalibad. So I graduated in 2012. Then I joined Ziauddin as a lecturer. Then I started my MDS in 2015. I completed my MDS in periodontology. Then I went on to have a MSc in clinical education from the University of Edinburgh through Commonwealth Scholarship. And currently, I am serving as an assistant professor at DUHS, and I do my evening practice as well.
Perfect. That introduction itself has the ability to extract multiple questions. Acha, so Dr. Aisha, let's start from the beginning.
All right.
So you were from the first batch of BDS of Dow, is that correct? So,
Yes.
considering that there was no batches before you, and there must not have been much awareness in the university itself about the program, so how did you get motivated to join BDS, and where did the awareness come from?
So this takes us really back. Kind of makes me feel like a dinosaur here right now because it's been a while. I was always interested in doing BDS because not because I wanted to do BDS, but because I did not want to do MBBS. So at that point, this is something that we are talking about. 2007, 8, kind of there. Yes. So those were the things, and also coming from the Brown family, it was that you have to either become a doctor or an engineer. If it's a guy, he's gonna be the engineer. If it's a girl, she's gonna be the doctor. But one thing that I knew, seeing my mother being a doctor, I never wanted to be a doctor because I was like, they have no work life balance, and I thought I thought that BDS is gonna be easier, to be very frank. And at that point, growing up, we were just told that if you are a good student, you have to get into public universities. So at that time, Dow did not have dental section at all. It was
Hmm.
just KMDC, which was offering BDS, and the second option was Bakai, but Bakai again was a private institution. So yeah,
Hmm.
eventually the MCAT happened, and that was a horrible time of my life because I don't know, intermediate was very awful. So MCAT happened. I did not want to go into MBBS, so I gave Dow का test. जान जान के मैंने सारे सवाल गलत किए.
Oh,
I did
wow.
not pass Dow because I knew if I passed, my parents are not gonna let me do BDS.
Hmm.
I sat for KMDC ka test. I failed. Like I did not make into it, and then I was clueless. Ab kya hoga?
Right.
So I got into JMDC,
Okay,
Jinnah
okay.
Medical and Dental Care, a college. So I went into that for 2 months, and at that year only, Dow announced its BDS.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I already am into a dental college, and like I was getting used to the environment. I was getting adjusted to the new area and everything. So I was like, might as well just sit for the test regardless. And at that time, Dow had only 25 seats.
Hmm.
So everyone who probably didn't get into the medical and dental college was sitting for the test. And
Oh.
even I was sitting for the test. I was not expecting to get into Dow, but I got into Dow.
Acha, so you did not want to get into MBBS because you were afraid of not being able to have a decent work-life balance.
Yes.
Why did you still have the willingness to stay with healthcare though? Because you wanted to go into BDS instead.
I never wanted to be a doctor, to be very honest. I wanted to become a badminton player. And at one
We'll
point,
get to that too.
and at
Is
one
this where
point,
the pedal is coming from?
yes, I was always into sports. I was always into sports, and that was definitely one part of me, and it still is. I thank God I haven't let it die. And then at one point, I wanted to become a VJ because at that point, Indus Music aata tha, and Anushe and Fazan and they all would be up there, and I was like, that's who I am, and I'm into Pakistani music, and
All
I
right.
just really wanted
So you
to.
had a calling.
I really wanted to do that, but eventually, and I at one point I wanted to become a musician.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, I never thought, but then again, coming from brown family, all of those things were like कि बेटा वो तो hobbies हैं, but
Hmm.
वो direction क्या है तो उसके लिए तो healthcare होना ही था. And then I mean, I did like BDS in the fact that I have a few dentists in my family. So whenever there was a family gathering, तो वो सिर्फ मेरी अम्मा का मसला होता था. बाकी other people would be very willingly staying back for the parties and all. So I was like, नहीं, BDS is better in the sense कि हम ये कर सकते हैं. And I don't know, somehow I always wanted to stay with head and neck only.
Okay, so after BDS, you did not opt for FCPS, and I want to know why is it that somebody like you who was such a great student throughout their undergrad as well did not opt for the only reasonable option at that time of post graduation, and what do you think is the future of FCPS today?
Okay. I did not get into FCPS. So I never knew what I wanted after BDS. Being the first batch, being not having a lot of support in the sense that even my parents did not know what to go for next. We were the first batch. We did not have a lot of guidance at that point. At that point, there was nothing else being offered other than FCPS. And FCPS was also offered in just two institutions, I guess.
Hmm.
So I did not choose FCPS. I did not know what I want, but I did know what I do not want.
Hmm.
I did not want to go into FCPS.
Why not?
FCPS is an amazing thing to do. I just don't like unstructured programs. For me, it's a personal point of view. I'm not putting down any program here.
Hmm.
For me, it is always something to, if I'm getting a degree, it has to be structured.
ठीक है.
FCPS is more training oriented. Now there is this IMM, and now you have to sit for an exit exam and everything. For me, it was always like, if I am to do masters, it has to be a structured program, much more like what MDS is. You go to the
सही.
classes, you have an exit exam, the exam every year that you have to pass, then you go into the year 2. It's not like
Is
FCPS.
it not like that in FCPS as well? You give
No,
IMM in the middle and then you give part
no,
two.
it's not like, you do not have daily classes. You do not have a daily
Okay,
curriculum sort.
got it.
So for me, I mean, my mind operates like that I have to have certainty, I have to know what's going on. So for me, FCPS was never an option. And at that point, there was no MDS that existed.
Acha.
Only in basic sciences, Dow used to offer MDS. So that was it. And then
So
I was clueless.
will it be fair to conclude that you wanted to learn more after BDS and FCPS was more work oriented than teaching oriented for its residents? Can that be said?
I was afraid of FCPS, and I till date I am.
Hmm.
Also because it was offered in two of the specialities that did not appeal to me. So I knew what I wanted. I actually knew what I did not want. I did not want to do FCPS in ortho and prostho. And those were
Right.
the two specialities that FCPS was being offered there in Dow only at that
Acha,
point.
so today, what advice would you offer to undergraduates who are not so sure about their pathway after graduating? How would you advise them regarding FCPS?
Regarding FCPS, it's a brilliant thing to do. See, living in Pakistan, you have two options. You either go for FCPS or you go for MDS. Now, how do you choose between the two? It depends on a lot of things. So for FCPS, it's a CPSP run program, which
Hmm.
is a national body that runs this program. So obviously, it holds a lot of credibility. You go into FCPS mostly if you want to have a training based post graduation. You go into MDS if you also want to go for academia and training. Both of them are together. Secondly, you choose FCPS versus MDS depending how much you can pay, because for MDS you will have to pay. In FCPS you will be getting a stipend.
Hmm.
Thirdly, how okay are you in grinding yourself? I mean, you will have to grind yourself for both of the programs. It's not easy to get into any of the post graduation, and not one program is easier than the other. It depends how willing you are to choose a specialty that you're getting going for your post graduation. Maybe you're getting an FCPS in a specialty that is not your calling, so maybe you'll opt for MDS in that manner. But you need to know that there are certain differences between the two. And then again, FCPS is a diploma, MDS is a university earned degree. That does not matter a lot here because both of them are in tier 3 according to PMDC. So it does not matter. But like if you want to go abroad, you will have to check, because if you have a university degree, there will be some credit hours that will eventually be settled abroad, whatever their criteria of scoring is.
Right. So, did you end up doing MDS instead?
I did MDS. I did MDS. And so basically, what happened after BDS, I got into teaching job in Ziauddin,
Hmm.
and I got into Prosto, the one subject that I did not want to do FCPS in. So I got into Prosto crying my heart out because I thought I can't do Prosto. And then I got into Ziauddin, and Alhamdulillah, I had such good teachers and my bosses that I actually fell in love with this field. And then I really wanted to go for whatever post graduation in Prosto only. Then
Hmm.
we started hearing that Ziauddin is opening up its MDS program. And I mean, fate took another turn, and MDS Prosto में approve ही नहीं हुआ Ziauddin में.
Hmm.
So then again I was clueless what to do next, because उस वक्त तो बस Prosto करना था, Prosto में approve हुआ ही नहीं.
Hmm.
So Perio was never my first choice or the second choice or the third choice even. I wanted to go for OMFS. But my boss, I would like to name him Dr. Haroon, he guided me to go for Perio, because Perio was one thing that obviously there were no postgraduates then at that point, and this is a vacuum that is still there. So he encouraged me to go for Perio. I did not go in it willingly, but now I can't think of anything else that I love more than Perio.
Honestly, I didn't even know there was a subject other than Perio that you were ever associated with. This is coming quite as a surprise that you were a
I
teacher of
love
Prosto.
Prosto. I love Prosto. And I think evening clinics mein I work with Dr. Sameer Qureshi. He's a
Hmm.
prostodontist.
Yes.
I joined him because he's a prostodontist and I love Prosto. So I was kind of doing my clinical work under his guidance. So मेरी वो जो Prosto की वो जो थी ना वो वहाँ पे पूरी हो रही थी उनके साथ.
Okay, so the only reason that you joined periodontology was because you wanted to do some sort of postgrad, and the only MDS that was being offered in Southern at that time was periodontology,
No, all of the subjects except Prosto.
except Prosto.
S
All
except
right,
Prosto.
all right.
Yes.
And then the mentor that you mentioned, Dr. Haroon, was keen towards you joining periodontology.
Yes,
How was
yes.
your experience with perio during MDS? What was it like?
First 6 months I did not speak to anyone because डिपार्टमेंट चेंज हो गया, मुझे ये फील्ड चाहिए ही नहीं थी, एंड आई डिड नॉट नो व्हाट टू डू. ऑल्सो बिकॉज व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड डूइंग एमडीएस, मेरा सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम पेरियो ना ज्वाइन करने का उस वक्त ये था कि बिकॉज आई वॉज स्केप्टिकल ऑफ द फैक्ट दैट हु इज़ गोना ट्रेन मी, बिकॉज वी डिड नॉट हैव पेरियो के लोग हैं ही नहीं, अभी तक भी नहीं है. सो एट दैट पॉइंट वन ऑफ माई द बिगेस्ट फैक्टर्स that was kind of not making me happy was not having a supervisor under whom I can train. एक तो वो मसला था, दूसरा my obviously like I have a lot of social anxiety. So I changed, my department changed, people changed around me, and everything changed. मैं 2 साल तक मैं प्रोस्थो में like I was engrossed. Perio, like even if you ask people right now, nobody opens up Carranza in their undergrad.
Right.
तो मैंने Carranza खोली ही नहीं थी ना, और अब तो मैं पोस्ट ग्रेड कर रही हूँ सब्जेक्ट में जो मैंने कभी सोचा भी नहीं था कि मैं इसमें करूँगी. So first 6 months were horrible, and then eventually I made peace with it. Okay, this is not too bad. I started opening up the books, and then I started exploring how vast this field was and how much it offered. सो फिर
Hmm.
बहुत हाथ पैर मारे, बहुत सारे इंटरनेशनल कोर्सेज किए, बहुत सारे इंटरनेशनल पेरियोडोंटिस्ट्स के साथ आई वर्कड एंड आई कोलैबोरेटेड, एंड आई एम सो ग्लैड एंड आई एम थैंकफुल टू दोज पीपल. लाइक, two people that I really want to name if this goes and they see it someday, it's gonna be Dr. John Kim and Dr. Vinay Bhide. Dr. John is from UPenn, and Dr. Vinay is a practitioner in Canada. These two people are the ones जिनको मैंने literally अपने cases भेजे हैं. Like I would send them the pictures and they would literally guide me कि इसका इस
Oh,
तरह से
wow.
treatment plan होना चाहिए. So I really owe a lot to them. And then also they have a beautiful social media presence. I learned so much from their cases that they put up. Like it takes a lot of effort to combine your
Definitely.
cases and then put
Definitely.
your learning for everyone else to learn. So this is what
Absolutely.
they do. So yeah, and then I started feeling that perio is a beautiful field. And obviously having no other, like BDS में भी probably ये था कि first batch no guidance, MDS में भी ये था first batch no guidance, and then doing it in a field that had no supervisor to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And then end में we did have Dr. Zahir with us for 1 year. So that was a bit of थोड़ा सा sprinkle हो जाता है कि आपको थोड़ा कुछ समझ में और आने लगा. You're
Right.
starting to see people in your own context as well कि जो ये काम कर रहे हैं.
Acha, so you mentioned that one reason why you were a little hesitant in joining periodontology initially was because you were afraid there's going to be a lack of training, the lack
Yes.
of trainers. So, do you think this is still the case with the Department of Periodontology, and could this be the reason why people don't prefer doing specialization in periodontology because aren't enough trainers even now?
Okay, I think now, as of 2026 that we're speaking, we do have people coming in. So now perio is getting better. I think a lot of people, like for instance, we did, the point is a lot of people still don't know what happens in perio. Perio is still scaling polishing for everyone. So
Hmm.
perio is a field that is so huge that it takes 4 years for us to graduate. Like it does take 4 years to graduate. So there is definitely something more than scaling polishing that's going on. More people need to come forward and tell people that perio is much more that. And if you see people doing a lot of clinical work as well, we're putting up cases now. There is a difference I see, in a difference of opinion is there. If you see people around you doing perio, that's the only case other people are going to be inspired and go for that
Absolutely. I'm very
field.
glad you mentioned this actually, because I was going to come to this eventually. Why do you think our OPDs are so limited in the number of procedures that we do in periodontology, as opposed to, for example, people like you who are in MDS who are learning so many things in perio that is not just limited to scaling and polishing? Why do you think there is a difference between what people learn in their postgrad versus what they're able to do in practically in OPDs?
Okay, so this comes down to three things. First of all, perio is a very specialist based field. So a lot of things, there are a lot of things, like a lot of surgical things that we can't teach a third year student. And then secondly, I have huge issues with curriculum. Like if this goes out to please everyone who is looking at the curriculum, please let's revamp the curriculum, because perio needs to now be expanded. Yes, we still have a dearth of teachers. Yes, we still have people who have the degrees of perio, but they are probably not, unfortunately, practicing perio the way it should be practiced. So, of course, if your supervisor or your teacher is not doing something, how do you expect the student to know about it? But
Hmm.
the wave is changing. We have a lot of people coming in who are doing a lot of stuff. Also, perio is just there in few colleges. It is still merged with oral medicine. It is still not recognized as a
Hmm.
speciality, the different speciality that it is, and that it deserves to be. Mostly because previously we did not have people to teach. So that made sense that, you had people from other specialities taking up perio. Now we do have people coming in. So I am hopeful and I'm already seeing the change that this is going to happen soon. Secondly, perio is there only in third year. A third year student just starts doing their clinical
Clinicals.
rotation.
Hmm.
They are not equipped enough to grasp the complex the the complex in ye sare concepts of perio that there are. So if we were to break down perio between third year and final year, where we could have non-surgical perio in third years, and then we continue it for final years, have the surgical periodontics for final years,
Hmm.
just expose them to the basics of perio, surgical perio at least, so that when they come into house job, they're not totally clueless.
Acha, so about that, I have an opinion.
What?
So, since a final year student is itself, they have so much curriculum, and prosthodontics is very unforgivable as much as it's helpful in your
Yes.
practical life. But there's so much curriculum in final year, right? And if in third year we're already introduced to Carranza, might as well just make us do the actual procedures that are taught in Carranza as well. Like when we used to go into the OPDs in our third year, and we had incredible teachers, by the way. I'm a graduate of Janasad Medical University, and the head of department at that time was Dr. Khalil, and I believe he's still the head of department and wonderful teacher. But every time that we wanted to do something other than scaling and polishing, and he was very motivating in that sense. But for example, there used to be an issue of lack of equipment at the OPD itself, etc. And even though this was not a major issue in other departments, but I believe, however, because periodontology the procedures other than scaling and polishing were very delicate, for example grafting or root planning, etc. I remember we even brought goat heads into the OPD just so we could learn route planning. And all of that was there, sure, but it was not as much as I believe it should have been in order for us to train us enough so that we could do it in house job as well. So, do you think that there is a way to deal with this problem in particular?
Again, it comes down to, so the thing is, why do students like prosto or operative to begin with? You have a lot of faculty and the entire faculty is trained. When it comes to, unfortunately, to perio, the thing is, neither the faculty is trained, neither do we have opportunities, neither do we have instruments here. So a lot of things, because perio is fairly nascent in our part of the world, unfortunately, but it is changing. If you get people who are into clinical periodontics, they will do stuff, and the children who are rotating with us, they will eventually get idea and exposure of the procedures that are happening, that are there in Carranza. जो लिखे हुए हैं वो करके देख भी रहे हैं वो बच्चे. The point is, also, unfortunately, in our academia, the teachers are burdened a lot with academic stuff. So that is also something that really bothers me, because you cannot ask a clinician to be that much hogged down by academic paperwork and everything. So for instance, if you have one head of the department and you have no other teacher with him, two lecturers, the lecturers have just graduated as well, obviously they are not trained in perio. Like I said, perio is a very specialist based practice to begin with. तो उस लेक्चरर को भी नहीं पता ज़्यादा, और जो हेड ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट है वो बेचारा एकेडेमिया में इतना फंसा हुआ है कि वो क्लिनिकल वर्क कर ही नहीं पा रहा.
Hmm.
So, there has to be a balance between that as well, so that the clinical faculty can actually concentrate on the clinics
Hmm.
rather than being, constantly hogged by the academic. But yes, obviously we are into academia, we have to look at, so that is why the clinical faculty is more burdened, in the sense that we have to look at academia, we have to look at the students, we have to look at postgrads, we have to look at the clinical procedures as well, and then
Hmm.
we do our own cases as well in the OPD. So it comes down to a lot. But if you have the skill, if you have the motivation, if you're true to your field, you can make a change.
Absolutely. That makes sense. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's move on from periodontology a bit now. So you did your MSc in clinical education from
Yes.
University of Edinburgh. Tell us more about
Yes.
that.
Okay, so what happened was, when I gave my final year exams of MDS, COVID aa gaya,
Hmm.
and everything was shut down. And I knew for sure कि ना मेरा इस साल thesis हो सकता है, because data collection and everything was kind of like uh, uh, it was hanging in the air कि अब होगा क्या. At that point, I came across this ad that said Commonwealth opportunity, and I applied for it. It took me, I took a week to fill that application because it was a huge application to begin with.
A week is pretty fast, by the way. I think I have unopened applications since 2024. But please go on.
So it took me a week. Every day I would come back home. Okay, by the way, we were still working in COVID. So yeah, our institution was not off. So I would come back home and I would sit on my laptop and I would fill the application. So one fine day I filled it up. And COVID tha, so I filled up the application and I did not give IELTS as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, so at only that year we were exempted in the sense that we could give IELTS later on. So I got into it, I got the acceptance, and then I was like, Acha. So then I was like, I can't get into the program because I have to apply for Commonwealth. मतलब मैं तो afford ही नहीं कर सकती, गरीब बच्ची हूँ मैं. So they were like, oh yeah, we want to forward your application for Commonwealth. मैंने कहा, अच्छा ठीक है सही है. So they were like, just sit for the IELTS and send us the results. IELTS would take 15 days. But COVID की वजह से online IELTS होने लगा था ना, they were giving result in 7 days. So I
Oh.
sent my results for IELTS and alhamdulillah then I got okay. So the semester was about to start and there was no notification from Commonwealth by that time. So my supervisor, my academic coordinator emailed me and they were like, okay, we have to enroll the kids from next week. And I was like, maybe I'll have to back out because I honestly don't have the funding. Then they were like, give us one day. Then they offered me the Edinburgh scholarship for 1 year.
Right. So they chose to forward your application to Commonwealth. It
you
was
can
not your decision.
no, so you can do it in two ways.
ठीक है.
Either you apply, so first of all you have to secure an unconditional offer from the university. That is a given,
Got
right?
it.
So you get an unconditional offer, then you either tell the university because they are partner universities. So Edinburgh is a partner university, they can send the applications themselves,
सही.
right? Otherwise, there is another option. You apply for the Commonwealth scholarships via HEC. You sit for the test and you apply for the scholarship, and then HEC narrows down the applications and then they forward it for the Commonwealth consideration.
Right. Since we're on the topic, Commonwealth scholarships are such a common thing. It's a very common piece of information that pretty much all undergraduates and postgraduates who have done even a little bit of researching on scholarships, they know about it. But we still don't know what needs to be done in order to secure a scholarship in itself. So before you got this unconditional letter from University of Edinburgh, did you get in touch with the faculty members beforehand, or was there some extra piece of work that you did that secured your place in the university?
So, first thing first, you do not have scholarships for clinical dentistry. Dentistry is a very expensive and a very privileged field.
Hmm.
So nobody's going to invest millions on you to get a degree unless you're a Nobel Prize winner and you've done something that you deserve to be taught that. So first, there are no scholarships for dentistry, but yes, there are partial scholarships for dentistry that come in a lot of other manners from the university itself. My degree was clinical education, which is not dentistry to begin with. It is an education ki degree. I got into that because I had issues with how we were taught. So I wanted to be a good teacher. And for that, I wanted to have some knowledge how to be a good teacher, what is the science behind being a good teacher. So there is an entire field of it now. Like, medical education is a term that is commonly used here. So in that similar manner, this degree actually focuses on teachers who are who are also clinicians.
Right.
So this is what clinical education is to begin with. No, I did not contact any of the supervisors. I just followed the Commonwealth ka pura procedure. The entire procedure is listed on their website, step by step, everything is there. Eventually, first of all, you have to get your admission secured. So all I did was fill the application for getting admission into Edinburgh clinical education program. Once I got the offer, then I applied for Commonwealth scholarship. I was filling the Commonwealth ki scholarship ki application side by side, so that the moment I get my letter, I tell them that I am going to apply for Commonwealth scholarship, and then I proceeded ahead. So you have to have your letter, your IELTS, all of your documents secured beforehand, before the cycle of the scholarship begins. सो उसमें भी
Right.
टाइम लगता है सारा, तो वो पहले से करके रखना है।
Acha, so your choice of program was very interesting. Considering that you were already from the field of education and academics, it makes sense that you chose MSc in clinical education. But did you want to come back to Pakistan to put this degree into use? Did you always have it in mind?
Okay, so my program was distance learning to begin with. And 2020 mein to there was no
Acha, acha.
traveling to begin with. So
Sahi.
this program made sense to me. Also, my thesis was left. So I could not have left Pakistan at that time.
Hmm.
This program, so basically, I did my thesis and I did my MSc together. So I did both of these things together. Uh, I wanted to do that because there is no one in Pakistan who has done. Now there are a few people who have gotten clinical education from the same university, but when I graduated, I was the first one to do this degree, and I did it only for the sake of my own learning. Interesting fact: when I got a Commonwealth scholarship and I got into this program, every single person around me said, बेकार चीज़ है, टाइम ज़ाया करोगी और फालतू चीज़ में पड़ गई हो। एंड देन आई वाज़ लाइक यार मेरा टाइम है, मुझे ज़ाया करने दें, कोई बात नहीं। तो नथिंग गेट्स वेस्टेड बिकॉज़ आई वाज़ इन्वेस्टिंग ऑन माय ओन सेल्फ। I was getting the exposure, the way they taught, the way their curriculum goes on, the way things are carried out there. It got me a lot of insight how to make things better for our students. So that is what my entire motivation was to choose this degree. But I'm happy to tell that this has been recognized by PMDC.
Oh, interesting. So, Dr. Aisha, if you were to jot down some specific things that you came across during your MSc that make you a better teacher today, what would those be?
Okay, first of all, I can't comment if I'm a better teacher now or not. Only my students can tell, but I can outline some of the learnings that I have had during my time.
Sure.
First of all, how a supervisor deals with the trainee. That was something that I learned in that program. My supervisor was a double PhD and he would give me princess treatment. Like, I mean, there have been so many instances where I was treated like a human being. So that was something that is missing in our part of the world. We still have an authoritarian culture here where a
Hmm.
PG is treated like, I'm sorry to use that word for the lack of the better word. I mean, we need to treat our students and our PGs like human beings. Anyone can have a lot of you can fall sick. You know what, the University of Edinburgh has the policy that you can take a leave if you're going through a breakup.
All right.
That's how much they prioritize mental health. ठीक है?
Imagine
Imagine that.
imagine communicating this to your supervisor.
Yes, imagine telling someone that I got stuck in rain and people are like, अच्छा गाड़ी चल तो रही है ना, आ ही जाओ. So, that is one thing that I learned. Secondly, I learned the important part of constructive alignment. How to assess students on what you are teaching, not on exotic trivia. I mean, I can't ask the same question that I'm asking a PG and I can't evaluate a third year on that thing as well.
Hmm.
So I need to know what a third year should know and I need to know what a PG should know. And that is how I'm going to assess both of them differently. And then also I got to know a lot of educational theories, how to make an assessment better, how to have how the importance of feedback to the students. Like, a lot of things that I was dealing with in my undergrad was कि आपने एग्जाम दिया, आपकी ग्रेड्स कम आए हैं for whatever reason, and now you're asking your teacher कि मैंने गलत क्या लिखा है, and nobody is telling you. तो how do you expect the student to become better when you're not telling them कि उसने गलत लिखा क्या है? So that is also these are the few things that I got to learn in my MSc. And then my thesis part was like, it was draining, and at 3 points I almost gave up, but then I did not give up because my supervisor kept on motivating me.
What was your thesis on?
My thesis was very interesting, and so basically in second year we had to do this project, और उसी project से मेरा final year का thesis का topic निकला. I did my thesis on the influence of Instagram on the education and practice of undergraduate dental students. So we eventually found out that
Wow.
Instagram, being a social media app, was being used by our new generation students as an educational tool as well.
Hmm.
So that was something that was really interesting to discover.
When was this thesis? What year?
23. 23.
Okay, okay. So pretty
Yes.
recently.
Yes, 23. So yes, I mean, that was super interesting for me to do. When I did a qualitative research, Qualitative research is something that I never did in Pakistan. Coming from a scientific background, qualitative research is laughed upon. They say, everyone says around कि if there are no stats, वो number नहीं है, mean
Hmm.
median mode नहीं है और आपका ये सब नहीं है,
Hmm.
तो this research is फालतू to begin with. But then in a research you're asking a question, and to answer the question you have to have the appropriate medium. That is also something that I learned with my MSc, that you cannot answer each question in a similar way. So what I was trying to find out was something that could be answered just by the qualitative research. So I had in-depth interviews, and coming from a scientific back, if I still tell I'm a dentist and I've done it at qualitative research. Oh, by the way, I presented this research at a research competition in Pakistan, and
Oh,
it was rejected because it
because
was
it was a qualitative
qualitative
research.
research. So
Why do you
yes,
think qualitative researchers are looked down upon?
because I mean, there still is this. So I think ignorance would be the better word to use, for the lack of the word. Ignorance would be it. It is still considered something that shouldn't be done by the scientific people from the scientific background.
Hmm.
Stats is not everything. I mean, yes, I mean, we did a lot of course, how do I come up with the results in qualitative research as well. तो उन्होंने ये बनाया हुआ है कि जो मेडिकल एजुकेशन वाले हैं वो क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्च करेंगे, जो क्लिनिशियंस हैं उनको क्वांटिटेटिव रिसर्च करनी चाहिए. दैट शुडंट बी द केस. लाइक आई सेड कि टू आंसर अ क्वेश्चन you should know how to, which medium to go for. And but then I presented that research at another conference in Pakistan only, and then I got the prize.
So, Dr. Asha, for those who are watching and don't necessarily understand the difference between a qualitative and a quantitative research, how would you summarize it?
So basically, what right now you're doing is a qualitative research on me. Why did I do what? So you will obviously have an in-depth insight, personalized idea of why a human being chooses to do something,
Hmm.
because that is your question. If I am doing this, so we do CAP studies as well.
Hmm.
Okay, we are assessing the knowledge, attitude, and the perception of someone choosing to do something. But that is just the surface level of why did they choose to do that. Now I want to go in depth of why did something happen. That's when where the qualitative research comes in.
Do qualitative researchers have a benefit over quantitative researchers? Is that true?
No, it depends on what you are trying to seek the answer for.
Say,
So it has to, you choose your medium of answer according
right.
to the question that you are trying to seek the answer for.
Makes sense. So, coming back to your thesis, what was the result of this thesis? What did you figure out?
Oh my god, we had such amazing results. So basically, you go into research, you're a human being. You go into research having some preconceived notions about the results that you're gonna get. So what I everyone keeps on telling कि Gen Z का attention span नहीं है,
Hmm.
बच्चे पढ़ते नहीं है, और क्या कहते हैं, इनको तो पढ़ने का शौक नहीं है. What people are overlooking is that Gen Z is very focused. Gen
All
Z
right.
knows उसको क्या
Thank you.
चाहिए. Yes, Gen Z is very focused, and Gen Z actually प्रॉब्लम ये है कि जेन जी डिलीनिएट्स और वो हटा देते हैं उन चीज़ों को अपने सामने से जो रिडंडेंट हैं. ओके, सो जेन जी वुड नॉट वांट टू गो फॉर समथिंग दैट इज़ नॉट प्रिटी. इट्स फाइन. इट्स फाइन. यू हैव टू वर्क ऑन योर एस्थेटिक्स. आप 400 स्लाइड आपने प्रेजेंटेशन की बनाई है, और अब आप उस जेन जी बच्चे को बोल रहे हो कि ये 400 स्लाइड्स पढ़नी है, और आप वो बोरिंग तरीके से वो दी जा रहे हैं, एंड देन आप कहते हैं जेन जी में अटेंशन स्पैन नहीं है. नो, जेन जी नोज कि दिस इज समथिंग दैट प्रॉब्लम, एंड यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ एवेन्यूज. जेन जी हैज़ अ लॉट ऑफ एवेन्यूज. तो वो 400 स्लाइड पढ़ने से बेहतर है
Hmm.
कि वो चैट जीपीटी पे जाए और वो पढ़ ले. Why can't you, as a facilitator, as an educator, make it more appealing for your student? Because now you have to evolve according to your learners. तो इंस्टाग्राम से हमें ये पता चला कि उस वक्त हम 10 सेकेंड्स की रील डालते. रील तो अभी आया इंस्टाग्राम पे, पहले
Hmm.
रील नहीं होता था, और अभी
Post ही होता था या?
पोस्ट होता था, और उसके अंदर 10 सेकेंड से ज़्यादा आप पोस्ट नहीं कर सकते थे. तो 10 सेकेंड्स में आप स्निपेट देख रहे हैं ना.
Hmm.
सो द जेन जी इज ट्राइंग, वो खेलते भी जा रहे हैं. ब्रेन रॉट इज द वर्ड दैट जेन जी यूज. सो ब्रेन रॉटिंग हो भी रही है, लेकिन उसके अंदर इफ दे फाइंड समथिंग दैट अपील्स टू देम, दे विल स्टॉप, they will look at it, and they will learn that thing without any external pressure. They will engage with it. So yes, आप उसको कंसाइज करके इन्फॉर्मेशन दें, बट अगर वो इन्फॉर्मेशन उसको अच्छी लग रही है ना, तो दे विल एंगेज विद इट. दैट्स हाउ आई डू बिलीव दैट द न्यू जनरेशन इज डिफरेंट.
Hmm.
So that is what we found out in our Instagram, and that we can make a social media app to become an educational tool was something that was a wonderful discovery for me.
Acha, so there are many fresh graduates that are now moving towards making educational content, and they're using social media for this as well. But this also then creates a responsibility on the receiver's end to filter between
Yes.
valid versus invalid information. So, what advice would you give to those on the receiver end of information for to be able to grasp the right one and move on from the inaccurate one?
Yes, then again, this was something that was also found in my thesis as well. Of course, everything will come with its pros and cons, and the one of the con of having so much information coming left, right, center with these social media apps is that you cannot figure out the authenticity of it.
Yeah.
But then again, I tell everyone that you are the student of science. Your so there is this term epistemology, the way you operate. You should operate from the stand viewpoint of science. What does the evidence say? So anything and everything that you're seeing, it is your responsibility to cross check. Do not absorb every information that is coming to you blindly. Or you can share. So it is easy. The social media combines a lot of people together. It brings a lot of people together. So if you found something and now you have some reservations on it, you can ask your peers, like, how did I connect with the two periodontists that I just named? Through social media. So you have a lot of
Hmm.
avenues. As much as the information is coming, you also have a lot of avenues where you can actually go and talk about it. uh, Check the authenticity of that information.
Hmm.
And honestly, it's the onus is becoming more on the receiver, in the sense that you will have to use your brains.
ट्रू, आपकी क्रॉस चेक वाली बात बिल्कुल सही है वैसे, बिकॉज इफ आई एम रिसीविंग एन इन्फॉर्मेशन एंड इफ आई एम रिसीविंग कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी इन्फॉर्मेशन एज वेल, then it then falls upon me how I want to share that information further if
Yes.
I've cross checked. However, mostly people don't want to put in the effort of cross checking information, which is why I believe they're on Instagram receiving information in the first place. I could be wrong, but then cross checking is not something that people do.
Yes.
However, what people tend to do, and by people I mean even myself, is that we only want to receive information from trusted sources.
Yes. Yeah.
So, because, for example, if you have already been my teacher at Tao,
Yes.
and if I see any video from your account or any other account that you are a part of, I want to stop and watch that video, because
Yes.
now I don't feel the burden to cross check this information that's coming from Dr. Aisha Hanif, right?
Yes.
So, how do you think practitioners who are making content can make sure that they also have another source of engaging with their audience apart from these videos, where they could create and like establish a connection with the audience?
So you see the last sentence of yours, that you're not going to cross check, you're going to believe what I post because it is coming from a trusted individual. So now it puts more responsibility on the educators as well. We have to be more responsible. So if I have reach, I know students are watching me, I know my colleagues and my peers are watching me. So now the responsibility comes on me. With great power comes great responsibility sorts. So now it's my responsibility to put ethical, evidence based content on my educational platform. And then I can also direct my students to now see, this is something that we can't escape from. We have to accept that our new learners are going to be very tech savvy. They are going to learn from the digital sources only. So we can't really ask them to escape all of those. We can direct them towards the sources that are trustworthy.
Hmm.
So yes, that is how it's going to be. And another suggestion in my thesis was, like, I keep on going back to that. It was that we know students are learning from Insta. So we can have the institutions come together, and we can have verified accounts which posts verified content, and we can direct our students there. There is a
Right.
lot of information, but then again, it's the responsibility is coming on us, as well as on the student, on the receiver as well, to find out the trusted sources and find out the trusted information.
Absolutely. And I wish there were more such mediums present where we could, mediums that we could refer to when we wanted answers to certain questions. For example, when we were just talking about your MDS journey, I was thinking how you have the perspective of having a life after MDS. You know what postgrad looks like after MDS, but there are people who, when they finish their FCPS, ड्यूरिंग द 4 years they're pretty satisfied कि 4 साल की जॉब है, सुबह के आवर्स यूटिलाइज हो रहे हैं, एक कांस्टेंट पे चेक आ रहा है, everything is sorted. However, when they finish FCPS, they have certain expectations from the system. They want to, once they've cleared part 2, they want to get consultancy, they want to become attendings, etc. And that does not happen. So coming back to this topic, what do you think life after FCPS looks like versus life after MDS?
I think pretty much the same. Because, so before answering that, I'm going to add one more point to it. A lot of people become depressed because of malaligned expectations. Like you
Hmm.
said, we put a lot of expectation on the system. पॉइंट इज कि वंस द स्टूडेंट ग्रेजुएट्स वो थर्ड ईयर फाइनल ईयर में सिर्फ अपने एच को देख रहा है जिन्होंने FCPS किया हुआ मोस्टली ने, या किसी ने MDS किया हुआ है, और वो अब एक कंसल्टेंट बन के HOD या AP की सीट पे बैठे हुए हैं. सो दैट इज़ योर इंटायर इंस्पिरेशन टू बिकम. आप MDS FCPS सिर्फ इसलिए कर रहे हैं कि आपको टीचर बनना है. आपको कितने टीचर्स चाहिए? कितने टीचर्स चाहिए? आप FCPS MDS अपना स्किल सेट बढ़ाने के लिए क्यों नहीं कर रहे? That should be your primary goal, because you are doing post graduation to acquire skill set rather than
Absolutely.
becoming a teacher. वो टीचर अपनी जगह पे है. अब वो बेचारा जब वो जगह खाली होगी फॉर वट एवर रीजन, तभी आपको जाके मिलेंगे. लाइक hundreds of post grads are coming in, but all of them want to become HOD.
Hmm.
That's not how you should go by. Post, अब I keep on getting a lot of questions कि हम MDS पेरियो कर लें, इसका क्या स्कोप है?
Hmm.
तो स्कोप तो वही है जो आपका स्किल सेट है. बिकॉज डेंटिस्ट्री डज नॉट गारंटी यू अ जॉब बिकॉज you have a degree.
I believe no field does.
No field does, right? You get a job because you have skills. And fortunately or unfortunately, dentistry is a very hands-on thing. So you have to have skills. आपके पास एक डिग्री है, आपको वो डिग्री की थ्योरी भी पता होनी चाहिए और अब आपको उसका काम करना भी आना चाहिए. That's how you get a नौकरी. And obviously, it is getting very competitive. Yes, it was kind of easier for our seniors. It was comparatively better for us. And now it is getting very, very hard for the upcoming generation, which does not mean कि सीन ऑफ है डेंटिस्ट्री का बिल्कुल सीन ऑफ नहीं है, बिकॉज वी स्टिल नीड अ लॉट ऑफ डेंटिस्ट. मसला सारा ये है कि ऑल ऑफ द डेंटिस्ट आर नाउ इन वन पॉइंट ओनली. आप कराची में सैचुरेशन कह रहे हैं, बहुत सैचुरेशन हो गई, बहुत सैचुरेशन हो गई. सैचुरेशन पूरा इतना बड़ा पाकिस्तान, यू स्टिल टेक आउट द स्टैट्स एंड यू सी देयर आर स्टिल सो मेनी डेंटिस्ट विच आर नीडेड. तो डेंटिस्ट्री कभी भी आउट ऑफ प्रैक्टिस तो नहीं जाने वाली. पॉइंट इज कि आपकी एक्सपेक्टेशंस अलाइन नहीं है. यू डू योर हाउस जॉब, नाउ यू आर एक्सपेक्टिंग अ जॉब कि आपको कोई, आपके पास BDS की डिग्री है ना, अब बस आपको 60, 70, 80 हज़ार की नौकरी चाहिए. ठीक
Yeah.
है, बट डू यू हैव द स्किल्स? कैन यू टॉक टू द पेशेंट? कैन यू ट्रीट द पेशेंट? कैन यू आइडेंटिफाई द प्रॉब्लम? कैन यू डायग्नोज इट वेल? और आपको कोई नहीं कह रहा कि आप सर्जिकल प्रोसीजर्स करना शुरू कर दें. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट BDS लेवल, राइट? आप एक जनरल डेंटिस्ट अच्छे बन सकते हैं. अगर आप एक जनरल डेंटिस्ट अच्छे बन सकते हैं, आपको नौकरी मिलेगी.
अच्छा, टॉकिंग अबाउट स्किल सेट, तो जब हम FCPS की बात कर रहे थे तो यू मेंशन्ड कि वन रीज़न व्हाई यू डिडंट जॉइन वाज बिकॉज देयर लैक ऑफ ट्रेनर्स एटसेट्रा. एंड इन FCPS you get to do a lot of patients, especially if you're in a government setup, because OPD का flow ही बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. So you as a PG from R1 to R4 you're doing patients every day, all day. But is that enough to build your skill set if you're not really being taught? Because even though it's called a training, I'm not sure if PGs are actually trained and taught things, and I don't think that's how it goes. But please feel free to comment.
Ugh, you're putting me on in a spot. Okay, so this is a difficult, ओए कर्व बॉल मार दिया है पूरा.
बहुत ही relatable question.
बहुत बड़ा कर्व बॉल आ गया. Unfortunately, so the thing is, I tell people that if you're getting into a postgrad program, do not expect spoon feeding. Do not expect spoon feeding. आपको अपना skills, you will invest a lot of energy and your time, and you would want to learn from multiple resources and not just rely on your supervisor. Your supervisor is supposed to teach you. That is what I learned in MSc. But you are in Pakistan. अब हम system के हिसाब से चलेंगे. So your supervisor is not the only source of learning. Your source of learning is a lot of other sources that you are blindsided about. ठीक है? So जिंदगी जीने के दो तरीके हैं. या तो आप ब्लेम करेंगे, एक्सक्यूजेज होंगे, या आप काम कर लेंगे, ठीक है। सो अगर आपने काम करना है ना तो आप बगैर सुपरवाइजर के भी कुछ बन जाएंगे, और अगर आपने काम नहीं करना है तो आपका सुपरवाइजर भले चीता सुपरवाइजर हो, आप एक बेकार पीजी ट्रेनी निकलेंगे, राइट। देयर आर लॉट ऑफ एफसीपीएस ट्रेनीज, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ एमडीएस ट्रेनीज, बट 4-5 के ही नाम आपको पता होते हैं क्योंकि वो काम कर रहे होते हैं। ऑल्सो अगेन आई एम कमिंग टू द अलाइनमेंट ऑफ एक्सपेक्टेशंस। आपने एमकैट दिया है, कितने लोगों ने दिया था
देना
आपके
पड़ा।
साथ?
Multiple thousands,
Thousands. How many
hundreds
of
of thousands
hundreds
actually.
of thousands? ठीक है, hundreds of thousands gave MCAT, और कितनों का एडमिशन हुआ डाउ में? 100 बच्चे
Handful.
का, ठीक है। hundreds of thousands में से 100 बच्चे का एडमिशन हुआ। अब वो पूरा का पूरा 100 बच्चा एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा है कि हम टॉप पे पहुंच जाएंगे। सो इट्स अ फनल, इट्स अ डाउनवर्ड फनल। तो उसके अंदर से तो लोग फिल्टर होते जाएंगे ना। सो हाउ डिड यू गेट फिल्टर्ड एंड गॉट इनटू बीडीएस? नॉट
सही।
एवरीवन डिड। यू गॉट फिल्टर्ड बिकॉज यू एट दैट पॉइंट आपका जो स्किल सेट था वो बाकियों से अच्छा था, तो आप बीडीएस की जंग जीत गए।
हम्म।
अब आप बीडीएस करके निकले, क्या आपका वो स्किल सेट है, क्या आप आगे जाके दुनिया की जंग जीत जाएंगे? सो जस्ट गेटिंग इनटू बीडीएस was part one, and you won among a huge plethora of people, right? उसके अंदर से जो बीडीएस नहीं कर पाया, उसने क्या किया? वो किसी और जगह पे चला गया, राइट। बिकॉज एट दैट पॉइंट हमें बताते हैं कि अगर अच्छा ठीक है बीडीएस में नहीं हुआ ना, तो ये कर लो, तो ये कर लो, तो ये कर लो, तो ये कर लो। वंस यू डन विद बीडीएस, आपको कोई बताता ही नहीं कि ये भी कर सकते हैं, ये भी कर सकते हैं, ये भी कर सकते हैं, ये भी कर सकते हैं। सो वॉट एवर वॉज हैपनिंग सिंस योर चाइल्डहुड, माँ बाप चाहते हैं ना हमारा बच्चा केजीएस में चला जाए, और नहीं होता तो यार सेंट पैट्स भी बुरा नहीं है ना, सेंट माइकल्स भी बुरा नहीं है, वो फलाना स्कूल भी बुरा नहीं है, राइट। सो दैट्स हाउ लाइफ गोज ऑन। और बीडीएस में सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हमारी मैल अलाइंड एक्सपेक्टेशंस हैं कि 50 बच्चा जब हो रहा है पास आउट, वो ऑल 50 ऑफ देम आर एक्सपेक्टिंग कि वी विल बी कंसल्टेंट्स।
Acha, I want to I want to like offer some comment on the here. I don't think that is the case. I
Okay.
don't think that all the graduates, because I'm a fresh grad myself, I don't think that everybody who was in my class was aiming to become the best in their field, in the sense that they don't want to become HODs or they don't want to come even as lecturers. However, the lack of confidence that we have in our skill set when we graduate is very unfortunate, and everybody has it.
Yes.
आई अंडरस्टैंड कि एक तो बेसिक अंडर कॉन्फिडेंस होता ही है, विच इज़ अ हम्बलिंग कॉन्सेप्ट सबके अंदर होना चाहिए कि नहीं भाई मैं चीता नहीं हूँ, आई जस्ट ग्रेजुएटेड, दैट मेक्स सेंस. बट when we come to our house job, for example, I remember that the first OPD I had in my house job was operative, and oh boy was I scared because I now have to do something that I was exposed to in a very limited way in my
Yes.
undergrad.
Yes.
And now I am being blamed. I'm not saying that I was blamed directly. My teachers were incredible, but now I am being I'm questioning my credibility as a doctor. I'm questioning my skill set, even though there was not much done in my undergrad by the curriculum to enhance my skill set to be able to do something today in my house job. So this is what I'm talking about. You are absolutely right that effort should be made on the students' end to enhance their skill set, and it's definitely a personal responsibility. That's how you survive as the fittest. That makes sense. However, I want to understand if there is something more that can be done from the system's end to work on a fresh grad's skill set, especially if they're an FCPS trainee.
2000%, आई एग्री विद योर पॉइंट 2000%। बट वो वाला जो पॉइंट था वो तो पीजीज के लिए हम कह रहे थे ना, कि पीजीज जिनकी ट्रेनिंग हो चुकी हुई है उसके बाद भी वो एक्सपेक्ट करें कि अब हम कंसल्टेंट बन जाएंगे सारे के सारे,
ठीक है,
वो
ठीक है.
पीजीज के लिए।
सही.
जनरल डेंटिस्ट जो बेचारे फ्रेश ग्रेड्स हैं ना, उनके लिए नहीं है, वो
सही.
बच्चे हैं, ठीक है, वो बच्चे हैं। अनफॉर्चुनेटली, like I said initially, कि our curriculum needs to be revamped ASAP, quickly, बहुत हो गया. So our curriculum is failing our students in a sense कि so what happens, 4 years तक जब आपके BDS के 4 years है ना, आपने सिर्फ थ्योरी पढ़ी है. अब आपके हाउस जॉब है and you are rotating in each of the clinical department for maximum 2 months. By the time you start grasping it, आपकी रोटेशन चेंज हो जाती
रोटेशन
है,
खत्म हो
ठीक
जाती
है.
है.
And now you tell me, are those 2 months enough to, and now you're done with your house job and now you put into independent practice. Nobody taught you, nobody prepared you for that independent practice. And that's not the, so the thing is कि टाइम इतना है ही नहीं आपके पास. अब आपकी हाउस जब खत्म हो गई है, now you understand, you 90% of the people understand in house job कि मुझे फील्ड अच्छी कौन सी लगती है. क्या मुझे ऑपरेटिव अच्छा लगता है, ऑर्थो अच्छा लगता है, सो नाउ you're मेकिंग योर माइंड फॉर दैट. अब आपको 2 महीने में कोई, नोबडी लर्न्स द स्किल सेट, नोबडी डज़. नाउ यू हैव टू पुट, दैट्स वेयर द प्रॉब्लम कम्स कि अनफॉर्चुनेटली अगेन बिल्कुल सही है कि येस योर सिस्टम इज़ प्रॉब्ली नॉट एज़ मच कैपेबल, बट देन व्हाट आर वी डूइंग टू बी बेटर? आर वी विलिंग टू डू इंटर्नशिप्स? आर वी विलिंग टू डू अनपेड, यू नो, मोर लाइक फॉर इंस्टेंस आई नो कि यार मेरी ऑपरेटिव वीक है, मुझे चेंबर अभी भी नहीं खोलने आ रहा, तो मैं मज़ीद 2 महीने और काम कर लूँगी ऑपरेटिव में, जाके मैं कर लूँ। येस माय सिस्टम इज़ फेलिंग मी, बट देन अगेन आई हैव टू लिव इन दिस सिस्टम, और थोड़ा-सा मज़ीद मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी। नोबडी वुड बी एक्सपेक्टिंग अ फ्रेश ग्रेड टू कम and do the root canal of upper left 7 in 20 minutes. If
Hmm.
somebody is expecting that, their expectations are also misplaced. You can't. अब बच्चे जाके थोड़ा सा आप ऑब्जर्व करेंगे किसी को करते हुए, एंड देन नॉट इन, और 5 सालों में जब आपने एक ही जगह पे आपने काम किया होता ना, यू हैड योर एजुकेशन फॉर 4 years एंड यू आर डूइंग योर हाउस जॉब, नाउ यू आर इन योर होम ग्राउंड. आप
Hmm.
एक बहुत कंफर्ट लेवल पे आ गए. द डे योर हाउस जॉब एंड्स, अब आपको समझ नहीं आ रही कि क्या करना है। अब आप एकदम से आपका एक इंडिपेंडेंट प्रैक्टिस आ गई, आपको लोग भी नहीं पता, जगह भी नहीं पता, सो ऑल ऑफ दोज एंग्जाइटीज स्टार्ट किकिंग इन एज वेल. So it takes time, it takes a lot of time, and then it takes a lot of effort to get the skills.
Hmm.
Masla, like I said, I love Gen Z. I love new kids. You guys have a lot of potential to go. You also know the direction. That was not the case with us. हमें directions नहीं पता थी. Now the onus is also on the teachers and facilitators and system to guide you well.
अच्छा डॉक्टर आयशा, व्हाट आर योर कमेंट्स ऑन सिमुलेशन बेस्ड लर्निंग इन अंडरग्रेड? फॉर एग्जांपल, अभी जब हम ये मसला डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, इट इज़ ओनली नाउ दैट इट हैज़ कम टू माय माइंड दैट ऑफ कोर्स it is my personal responsibility to be able to gather as much information and experience to enhance my skill set and outstand in a crowd of graduates. I get that. However, if I'm thinking about what I wish would have been better in my undergrad, for example,
Mm-hmm.
we were exposed to simulation based learning, yes, and it had a lot of potential, and I wish there was more of it. So what do you think, what has your experience been as a teacher with simulation based learning and its benefits?
Yes. So that is also one thing that I learned in my MSc in clinical education. The simulation based learning is one thing that is on the rise. Definitely, I'm just going to give you a little example from our curriculum only. When you step into third year for perio, you are never taught to even hold the instrument. You guys are not taught how to have the chair position done. And suddenly in third years, you're exposed to doing patients.
Hmm.
Live patient, जो जीता जागता पेशेंट है, एक थर्ड ईयर के बच्चे को दे दिया है हमने. उससे पहले अगर हम उसको सिमुलेशन बेस्ड ट्रेनिंग पे ले जाते, सो आहिस्ता 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 उसके बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक्स बनते रहेंगे कि ओके फाइन, दिस इज हाउ यू गो अहेड. Again, curriculum revamp, a lot of strategies that are needed for the young and new generation learners. And yes, there is one college in Pakistan, Karachi, that has a simulator. So I was there as well. I was there in college. तो उसमें है, and it has a lot of benefits.
अच्छा, वैसे सिमुलेशन लैब्स तो मेरे ख्याल से हर यूनिवर्सिटी में होती है. आई थिंक देयर अ रिक्वायरमेंट फ्रॉम HUCA एट दिस
No, I'm
पॉइंट.
not talking about Phantom Head Labs. I'm not
ओके,
talking
यू
about
टॉकिंग अबाउट
Phantom Head.
समथिंग
No,
एडवांस्ड.
no, I'm not
इंटरेस्टिंग.
talking about Phantom Head at all. Phantom
सही.
Head is some. अच्छा, Phantom Head में भी इतने ज़्यादा amazing Phantom Heads आ चुके हैं कि like if you have a chance to go and visit, can I take the name of the college? I don't know.
श्योर, ऑफ कोर्स.
I mean, so go and visit the Phantom Head lab of AKU and you will know what they are doing, and that's amazing. Then go and visit their dental hygiene की facility. Dental hygienists वहाँ की जो जिस facility में काम करें, just have a look around. So I'm not talking about phantom heads. I'm talking about actually VR simulators
सही.
and the all of the other actual dental simulation training where you do not have the patient but you get the patient type feeling. Phantom head has no feeling.
अच्छा, दिस इज़ एक्चुअली व्हाट आई वाज़ होपिंग टू गेट एट कि व्हाट डू यू थिंक इज़ द इफेक्टिवनेस ऑफ सिमुलेशन बेस्ड लर्निंग? क्योंकि अगर तो हम सिर्फ फैंटम हेड लैब की बात कर रहे हैं, तो मेरी चेयर पोजीशनिंग शायद ठीक हो जाए, बट व्हेन आई एम एक्चुअली सिटिंग एंड डूइंग अ पेशेंट, तो मुझे नहीं देखना इनडायरेक्ट विजन में, मैं तो पैलेटल साइड सर घुमा के ही देखूंगी. बट अगेन दैट्स अ प्रॉब्लम ऑन
No,
माई
no,
एंड.
सबका यही है.
But see, this is what I was talking about. Are phantom heads enough? But then it's interesting that you mentioned that there can be advancements in
Yes.
simulation based learning as well. So as an experienced teacher, you would say, can you say confidently that simulation based learning has the potential to significantly improve the confidence and skill set of students by the time they graduate?
Acha, whatever I say from evidence and literature. So it's not me who's in favor of simulation based learning. It's the literature and a lot of studies and a lot of colleges who've already adopted that. They are saying how much their students have benefited from it.
Hmm.
So it's not me who's gonna say कि मैं बहुत कोई awesome math teacher हूँ और मैं जो है ना, like I'm not saying that just on from my perspective. The literature says that evidence simulation based learning is really is doing wonders for students learning.
Right, perfect. It's interesting to know. Dr. Aisha, I think we've covered a lot of things, and I wish we had time to, dive deeper into some of these things. I just want to conclude with one topic. I want to understand how is it that undergraduates can be motivated towards making a career in periodontology, and what do you think are the limitations at the moment for these undergraduates for doing so?
I think a lot of people are being motivated for coming into periodontology because now there are people coming in and students. So you will only be motivated when you see what's going on around. Uh, Motivation is something that is both intrinsic and extrinsic. How do you motivate yourself to go into one thing is something that I don't know how to answer that. But what I can tell people is that being a periodontist, I might sound biased right now, but periodontology is a field that is huge. It has a lot more to offer. And right now, there is a fair gap in the presence of periodontists here in our part of the world. So,
Hmm.
yes, for the next 5-10 years, we are definitely going to see a lot of boom in periodontology. How do you motivate yourself? Get an attachment with a periodontist, see what they do,
Hmm.
someone who does clinical work, maybe
Definitely.
go on and ask them and assist them in one of their cases and see how that grafting का केस है किसी के साथ जाके असिस्ट करा लें वो केस.
ये
So
वाली बात आपने एक्चुअली बिल्कुल सही करी है बिकॉज फॉर एग्जांपल व्हेन वी सी टीचर्स लाइक यू हु एक्चुअली डू प्रोसीजर्स अदर देन स्केलिंग एंड पॉलिशिंग इज व्हेन वी गेट इंटरेस्टेड इन द फील्ड एज वेल एंड आई बिलीव दैट इज द केस विद एनी डिपार्टमेंट
yes,
व्हेन आई
yes,
स्टैंड विद माय OMFS professors and
yes,
HODs and I see them doing a sinus lift in like 25 minutes.
yes,
I am surprised, and then I want to do that sinus lift in the
yes,
next
yes,
25 minutes. So that is definitely the case that the more we are exposed to
yes,
advancements and procedures, the more it becomes a motivation.
yes.
And one reason why periodontology, unfortunately, might not be as big of a motivation for many undergraduates at the moment is because all they have seen in their OPTs is scaling and polishing.
Again, but then again, I would like to add one thing. For third years, scaling and polishing is what their curriculum is. And then again, I can't ask a third year student to go for a surgery. So, one thing that I would really want to add here is that the third year is supposed to be focusing on the non-surgical part of periodontology. Usko perfect kar le. And yes, like I said, it's a specialist based field. So all of these fancy looking grafting procedures and all, they all would come to you if you decide to go for post grad in periodontology.
Hmm.
सो वहाँ भी थोड़ी सी एक्सपेक्टेशंस को अलाइन करना होगा बिकॉज ऑल वी हियर फ्रॉम थर्ड ईयर स्टूडेंट इज दैट हमने सिर्फ स्केलिंग पॉलिशिंग की.
Hmm.
भाई यू रोटेटेड फॉर 8 वीक्स, तो आपको स्केलिंग पॉलिशिंग ही करनी थी ना बच्चे.
That's a good reality check. I'm glad you mentioned this. But maybe
बट
just
येस,
exposure to it would
एक्सपोजर टू
be.
इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. लाइक आप हाउस जॉब कर रहे हैं एंड देन यू आर ऑल्सो असिस्टिंग वन ऑफ योर टीचर्स डूइंग वन ऑफ द प्रोसीजर्स अराउंड. सो दैट्स हाउ यू गेट इन टू इट, दैट्स हाउ यू गेट टू लर्न
Make your mind.
कि यही वो चीज़ कर रहे हैं जो किताब में लिखी हुई है. नाउ वी
Hmm.
सीइंग इट हैपनिंग एज वेल. सो येस.
Absolutely. Dr. Aisha, it was wonderful talking to you. I am so glad that we were able to cover some of the very important topics that I, as a fresh graduate, discuss only among my peers. But it's very interesting to have experience perspective on this. Thank you so much for always taking out the time for such things. I know that you are a very busy person and have a very busy life, but I really appreciate this. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. And I am always very interested to get into student led initiatives because you guys are the future of dentistry and dentistry is in really good hands. So I'm really proud and I'm really grateful for Dental News and you for having me here for the talk. I had a great time.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching as well.